guys, it's Ms Christel here, and this week we are talking about dinosaurs. So, dinosaurs is a really fun subject. And what we're going to be focusing on today is something that always immediately comes to mind to me whenever I hear about or I think about dinosaurs. And that topic is fossils. So we're going to be making our own fossils, but before we do that, let's talk about fossils and what they are and where do they come from. So fossils are basically any kind of remnant or reminder of something that happened a long time ago, like when we find any remnants or pieces of them today, we call them fossils. And fossils can be anything. The most common one is dinosaur bones, which is what we're going to be focusing on today. In my other video, we're going to be talking about the another type of fossils. We're going to call which we call fossil imprints. But going back to dinosaur bones. So, as it implies, these are bones that are left over from the various dinosaur periods. Did you guys know that there was a large time period in which dinosaurs existed? You have like the Jurassic and the Triassic. It's really it's a very interesting rabbit hole to go down to if you ever are curious about dinosaurs, to learn about all the different dinosaur ages. But dinosaur bones are fossils because they're the bones that are left over from dinosaurs, and they as time went on and different debris like rocks and dirt built up over time, those dinosaur bones got buried really deep underground, which is where you have archaeologists come in who find sites where they think these dinosaurs may have existed or they knew these dinosaurs were, and they search around for dinosaur bones. I think the most common example of this is if you guys have ever seen a museum or the movie Night at the Museum and they have the big T-Rex skeleton there. Those are all fossils. All those bones are fossils. And those dinosaur bones tell us so much about the dinosaur in question. It tells us where they may have lived, what their diet could have been based on the type of teeth that they had. Teeth are a fossil. If you guys have ever seen, at SeaWorld, the shark teeth, those are fossils too. It's any type of bone that gets left behind when the creature decays. And because those bones spent so much time being buried under all that sand and that dirt and those rocks, that they're a little bit harder than you would normally expect, which is part of being a fossil. So, as I said earlier, this video is going to be focusing on making our own dinosaur bones, our own dinosaur fossils. And to be doing that, we're going to be focusing on using salt dough. And I'll explain what that is. So typically when you do these kind of activities, a lot of people use air dry clay, which is a special kind of clay that when you leave it out for so long, it'll eventually harden up and dry out. Now, I know I don't have any air dry clay, and I don't particularly feel like buying some. So an alternative that gets used is salt dough. Now, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make that today, but before we begin, this activity does involve using the oven. So, before you do it at home, please make sure you have an adult supervision helping you with it. That way you don't burn yourself with the oven. So, the first thing to do before we mix in all of our ingredients, the first thing you want to do is you want to preheat your oven to 250 degrees. This usually takes about 10 minutes. Depending on your oven. So it's best to do that first. That way you're not waiting an extra 10 minutes after you're done mixing everything together. So now that I have my oven preheating, The next thing we need is a bowl where we're gonna mix these things. You're gonna need 1 cup of cold water. I took tap water from my kitchen faucet and I had it sit in the fridge for about an hour to get cold. Now, the next thing you're gonna need is 2 cups of all-purpose or just regular white flour. I haven't poured mine yet, but this is what it's gonna be. And then finally, as the name implies, you're gonna need 1 cup of white regular salt, table salt. So here I have my 2 cups of flour, and we're going to pour that into our mixing bowl. And then next I'm going to pour out my 1 cup of salt. And pour that in. So what you should have so far will look something like this. You can use a fork or a whisk to kind of mix it up more, but personally I find that even though it's a little bit dirtier, using my hands works the best for mixing. So next we need to add our cup of cold water. Now you do want to add this slowly because you don't want your dough to be too wet. You'll see what it's supposed to look like as I make mine, but you don't want to pour all your water at once because you actually may not end up needing it all. So this is what it's going to look like. It's actually kind of a lot like slime in the sense that you have to keep kneading it in order to get it to be the right consistency. So it will feel a little bit granulated or a little bit sandy because of all the salt. That's normal, and oh, there goes my oven. So my oven's ready as well. But that's normal because of all the salt. All right, so I know you guys can't see my face right now, but I'm right here. So what I've done is I've taken a clump of my salt dough, and I have my cookie sheet that I'm going to be putting it on for the oven. And I'm just going to try to make some bone shapes out of it. Kind of see what we get. All right, and these are my finished bones that I'm making. My cookie sheet is pretty dirty, so please excuse that. But here I have like a femur or like a leg bone. This one here is the same too, but a little bit thicker. This is like a claw. You know how like dinosaurs would have like the claws or the talons. These I'm going to see if they're small, and if they work out, I want them to be teeth. This is just a little foot I tried making. Maybe they have a whole foot bone. And finally right here I have a jawbone with some teeth. So these need to go in the oven for about 2 hours at, again, the 250 degrees. So make sure you have an adult put them in the oven for you, and I'll see you again in 2 hours. Alrighty guys, so this is some of the bones that I made, and this is how they came out. Again, they baked for the 2 hours, and then I let them cool for about an hour just to be safe. So here is one of like the femur, or like the, I guess like the stereotypical bones. Here was the jawbone that I tried to make with the teeth. Obviously, a dinosaur's teeth are going to be a lot bigger than mine. There was this bone. This bone came out really well, I think, although it still is a little lumpy. That's okay. My foot, it does look pretty weird, but hey. And then, like, the talon I made. So, this is really cool, and if you want to add an extra bit of fun, you can, like, bury them in the dirt or the sand, and you can dig them up like an archaeologist would. What I'm going to be doing, though, is in my other video where I do my fossil impressions, I think I'm going to use some of these for my impressions. So, maybe, hopefully, I'll see you there, but if not, I hope you guys have a lot of fun and found this interesting. Bye!